Lapses are normal and expected. Guess what? You know what that means? You will never be perfect. Never. Okay, you will never be perfect. We remain vulnerable to the pull of old habits. We remain vulnerable to the pull of food. It's very easy for you to be serious and committed with me here tonight because there's no food here. But when we go home to our triggers, that food is so powerful. That food is so powerful. That food calls my name from a place I can't even see it in the cabinet. Anybody else? It knows my name. It calls me loud and clear. It calls me. And it pulls me like a magnet. It pulls me like a magnet. But you know what that's called? You know what that's called? Right at that, Yetzer Hara. It is the Yetzer Hara. And Rebbetzin Young writes in her book, The Committed Life, she says, how come when we know better? How come when we know we still indulge in self-defeating behaviors? And she says, because it's the Yetzer Hara. And she says the Yetzer Hara has the ability to temporarily blind a person. I want it now, I want it all, and I won't take no for an answer. So she says, so are we doomed? No. She says, stop and think. Stop and think. And that's what we don't do. If we would only stop and remember the pain. If you would only think back to the last time that you put on a skirt that didn't fit, that you didn't want to go to a chasana, that the high school reunion scared the heck out of you. When you took that dress out of the closet and, oh, it's going to fit, and then the space between the button and the thing was this big. This big. Oh, you've had the experience. You've had the experience. And when that elastic thing doesn't fit anymore, then you know you cooked. Then you come here. And you come here, and week number one is, please get me thin. I'll do anything. Just tell me how high to jump, okay? Tell me what song to say, whatever you say. That's good for about a month. Then you start to feel good, and everybody tells you how good you look, and then you forget me, okay? And you forget your desperation. And whatever I say, I don't need to do that. I'm okay. And then we start with the diet language. Oh, it's only an extra bread if that's the only thing I do. That's okay. Oh, it's only an extra protein if that's the only thing I do. That's okay. Oh, it's diet ice cream. That's okay. And all of a sudden, we're okaying our way through the day. And then you come here and you wonder, how come I didn't lose weight? And then I ask you to write down your food, okay? Then it's shah still, and then I never see you again. It's happened. It has happened, okay? Food does not lose its power. Food does not lose its power. With practice, we can use the slips to our advantage. A tool to recognize where we might stumble and a reminder of the need to develop new learning, and to recognize the warning signs. And there are so many warning signs. There are warning signs, okay? When you try to find every reason not to come to class, that is a warning sign. Okay, that is a warning sign. When you start to make do with foods that you're feeding your family, that's a warning sign. When you are, when you binge, where are we, Tuesday night? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Shabbos, and then you starve Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday so that you lose weight on the scale, that's a warning sign. When your whole goal becomes that scale, that's a warning sign. And I very often tell you, if you focus on the weight, you're going to lose the program. If you focus on the program, you're going to lose the weight. The program is a program of self-care. The program is finally admitting and realizing you will lose the weight, okay? But it's about developing new strategies to keep it off. Developing new ways of looking at food, developing a new relationship with food and a relationship with yourself. Eventually, we can begin to think differently about food, recognizing its value to sustain us and protect us from hunger, and denying its authority to govern our lives. Who understands that? Who was ever governed by food? Right here. Food was the boss. Food was always the boss. And now you take it back. Okay? You take back your power. You take back your power. And now you decide. Here's the book that we're going to read. Okay? We didn't even read this whole book. We didn't even start the book yet. But the book is called Fatitudes. Okay? So you have to decide whether you have attitude or fatitude. Okay? So the book is called Fatitudes. Beat self-defeat and win your war with weight. And it is written by 2 doctors. So what are fatitudes? How can we what? Beat the war. It's a long, long book. And we are not going to finish it today. As a matter of fact, I want to show you another book before that. This book has nothing to do with weight. The book is called Better. And it's written by a surgeon. And it's a surgeon's notes on performance. A surgeon's notes on performance. And what struck me here was it doesn't matter what the issue is, whether it's surgery or weight loss, okay? The same things are required. So what are the things that are required? He says, in this book, Better. And all it means to us is doing it better than we've ever done it before, doing a better job than we have been doing. And what he says is required are these things: diligence, to do right, and ingenuity. So, diligence. He says the first is diligence. The necessity of giving sufficient attention to detail to avoid error and prevail against obstacles. Sufficient attention to detail. So when you give me your pink sheet and you tell me you ate a salad, you don't tell me you had a half a jar of dressing on that salad. Mere detail, okay? Detail. To prevail against obstacles. You will face food obstacles every day of your life. It's the detail. It's the diligence. It's the constant, earnest effort. Constant, earnest effort. The diligence. And you know what you have to do that? This has to be priority. And I'm going to say it again. When we don't pay attention to the detail, to the food, to the behaviors, it is that we deny the seriousness of this issue. It's when we think it's all about weight loss and weight gain. We deny the seriousness. Who's ever denied the seriousness? Okay, just me? I don't think so. I don't think so. It is diligence. It's how much do you want to pay attention? How important is this? And when I ask you in the class, how important is it? It's so important. It's 110% important. Is it? Until we go home and all those triggers hit us. The baths and the homework and the kids and the money and the husband and their parents and the in-laws and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, this high priority, we can't even find it anymore because it's in the bag. It's on the floor. We can't find it. So you have to ask yourself, we each have to ask ourselves, how important is this? How uncomfortable am I willing to be to get what you want? Okay? Because this is sometimes very uncomfortable. It takes, yeah, it does take effort. Yeah, it does take effort. To do the right thing. Who believes that eating right is to do the right thing? Anybody believe that? Okay? It's the right thing. Do you know that this is the only mitzvah that says ma'od? Shamartem ma'od nafshetechem. It's the only one. You know why? Because it's so hard. It's the hardest one. Ma'od. You got to do this more avad. You have to do this ma'od. Do right. To do right. Okay? It is. He says medicine is fundamentally a human profession. Well, so is losing weight. It is therefore forever troubled by human failings. Yes, we have human failings. Okay, but it is the intent to do right. It is doing the best we can. And unfortunately, we do not do the best that we can do. In every area we can do better. Yes or no? Yes or no? We try to get away, and it is the human condition, and it is a result of the times we live in. Convenience takes over. Why should I work so hard when it can be more convenient for me? Right? Why should I? We rely on convenience. We rely on convenience foods. We rely on convenience appliances. We just rely on convenience. And then we try to get away with stuff. Okay? And unfortunately, in my experience, if I didn't do it right, I had to do it over and over and over and over until I learned that the only way to get anything you want is the straight way. I always thought there was an angle, there was a shortcut. There isn't. And maybe there's a shortcut in other areas. There is no shortcut here. Our lives are run by technology and economy, but your body is not technologized. Your body is not a machine, okay? It is not technologized. So it needs the same thing as it needed in your grandparents' and great-grandparents' generation. And the food that we eat today, our grandparents and great-grandparents wouldn't even recognize as food. Who gets it? Who understands it, okay? So we have old bodies. I mean, you know, I have an old body, okay? But we have our bodies are not technologized, okay? So it's the constant effort to do right,